Right now, there's a college student making $119 million selling something so boring he was initially embarrassed to tell his friends. My own cousin made hundreds of thousands of dollars solving a problem he found from reading online forum complaints. And right now, while you're watching this, there's a guy in Indiana making $15 million a year from a business he started by literally knocking on people's doors. None of them sell anything sexy. There's nothing techy about their products. They don't sell anything trendy, and certainly nothing that would ever go viral on TikTok, and that's exactly why they're winning. Here's what nobody tells you about the e-commerce game. The flashy products you see on TikTok, they're a trap. When something goes viral, everyone sees it, and when everyone sees it, everyone sells it, and margins disappear overnight. Then, 6 months later, you're stuck with a garage full of fidget spinners that nobody wants. But boring is different. Boring keeps competitors away because no one wants to sell boring products. But boring also means stable profits and customers who come back month after month. Right now, there are over 347,000 businesses in America reordering the same boring products every single month, and they're not shopping around. They just need the thing, and they need it now. So in this video, I'm going to show you 7 real companies making millions in niches so unglamorous, most people won't even consider them. I'll show you the revenue numbers, how they got their first sales, and by niche 4, you'll spot the exact pattern that connects all of them, a pattern that you can steal today and start making money right now. So niche number 1 is funeral and memorial products. And yeah, I know, not exactly the vibe you were expecting, but stay with me because this one's fascinating. The company is called Oak Tree Memorials. Their average order value is around $400 per order, and they sell urns and keepsakes. Now here's why this niche is exploding. Cremation rates are climbing every single year, and families want modern designs that actually look good in their homes. But most brands in this space, they haven't updated their products since 1987. Everything looks like it belongs in a creepy Victorian mansion, and that gap is the opportunity. So how did Oak Tree get their first sales? They didn't launch with 100 products or rent a warehouse. They didn't even have a website at first. They created a small line of modern, beautiful urns and listed them on Etsy, and that's it. People searched for modern urn or cremation jewelry, and their products actually looked modern with clean lines and contemporary finishes, and they started getting orders. So here's a lesson. In a boring niche, design alone can make you stand out. You're not competing against thousands of dropshippers copying the same AliExpress product. You're competing against companies that think it's still 1995 and design does not matter. Now I can see some of you clicking away right now because funeral urns feels too heavy, and I get it. But niche number 2, this founder got his first sales by literally driving around and knocking on doors. And his approach works for almost any B2B boring niche that you can think of. Niche number 2 is industrial safety supplies. Think hard hats, protective gloves, safety goggles, high visibility vests. Absolutely riveting stuff. But Quest Safety Products does an estimated $15 million per year selling this stuff. Because construction crews and manufacturing plants reorder these items every single month. Because gloves wear out, hard hats crack, safety glasses get scratched, and in this space, you're not chasing one-time buyers. You're building a subscription business without actually calling it that. Now the founder's name is Sam Yadav, and his approach was super simple. He started with very little inventory, maybe a couple of boxes of gloves and some hard hats, and then he literally drove around Indiana visiting construction sites and manufacturing plants. He walked in, found the supervisor, and asked one question. What are you constantly running out of? And they told him, gloves, safety glasses, and ear protection. So he wrote it down, sourced it, and came back the next week with exactly what they needed, and they bought from him not because his prices were the lowest, but because he showed up in person. That's it. He didn't use fancy marketing, didn't run any ads. He just showed up with the thing that people needed when they needed it. And here's what most people get wrong. You don't need a massive distribution network to sell B2B products. You don't. You literally just need 3 to 5 businesses that reorder every single month. And if you become their reliable supplier, the business grows itself through referrals and steady volume. Now keep watching because this next niche is going to make you squirm, but it proves something critical about boring niches. So niche number 3 is pest control products. We're talking bugs, rodents, spiders. Not sexy at all. But the pest control market is worth billions, and homeowners need solutions every season. Now the company is called Trumbug. They just launched last year, and in their first year, they did $74,000 in revenue, going up against huge companies like Raid and Ortho. All they did was create one straightforward pest control kit, and nothing fancy. Just a spray bottle, some bait stations, and clear instructions. And then they made short, helpful videos showing exactly how to get rid of the most common pests. How to kill ants in your kitchen, how to eliminate roaches in your bathroom, how to keep spiders out of your basement. And someone searching for how to kill ants naturally would watch the video, see the kit in action, and think, you know what? I'll just buy that instead of figuring this out myself. Now here's the key insight. You don't need a giant product catalog with solutions for every pest on Earth. You just need to solve one or two pest problems clearly and convincingly. And people will find you because the problem is universal and everyone is willing to pay to make them go away. By the way, if you're interested in learning how to start your own profitable online store, make sure you sign up for my free 6-day e-commerce mini course below. It's 100% free and I guarantee you'll learn a lot. Alright, if you're still with me, drop a comment with which niche surprised you the most so far. Because niche 4 is where the pattern to success becomes crystal clear. In fact, the next 3 niches make more money than the first 3 combined, and the strategy is even simpler. So niche number 4 is replacement parts for appliances and cars. When something breaks in your home, you try to fix it yourself. Your TV won't turn on, your dishwasher is leaking, your dryer is making a horrible noise, and you need the exact part to fix it, and you need it now. And that urgency makes this niche incredibly powerful. ShopJimmy.com ships thousands of TV parts every week and does $10 to $19 million per year. And I love their origin story. The founder, Jimmy, bought broken televisions from liquidation auctions. Big lots of them. TVs that retailers couldn't sell because they had one broken component. Now most people will try to fix these TVs and then resell them, but Jimmy realized something smarter. The individual parts were worth way more than the whole TV. So instead of fixing them, he parted them out. He pulled the circuit boards, tested them, and listed them on eBay with detailed compatibility information. And those parts sold faster than entire TVs ever could. Because someone with a broken Samsung TV wasn't looking for a whole new TV. They were looking for the exact power supply board that failed, and they needed it yesterday. And this is the pattern. Find desperate buyers with urgent problems because they don't shop around or compare prices. They just need the solution right now. Now let me show you how small and specific these opportunities can be, because this next story is about my own cousin. My cousin noticed something on Jeep forums back in the early 2000s. Jeep Wranglers and Cherokees from that era had terrible factory tweeters. They'd blow out constantly, and every single forum thread was people complaining about 2 things. The tweeters sucked, and the replacements from the dealer were just way too expensive. So my cousin did something simple. He sourced aftermarket tweeters that were actually good quality and made them plug and play for those specific Jeep models. Just unplug the old one and plug in the new one, and you're done. Then he started answering questions on these same Jeep forums. Hey, I actually solved this problem. Here's what worked for me, and he'd link to his product. Now the first sales came within hours, and Jeep owners were so fed up with their blown tweeters that they jumped on a real solution immediately. Now he didn't even build a website at first. He just sold them through eBay and Amazon, and over the next few years, he made hundreds of thousands of dollars selling Jeep tweeters. Just one product, one specific problem, and one passionate community of buyers, and I literally watched him do this from his house with no employees. And that brings me to the most boring niche on this entire list. But it's also the one that made one college student embarrassed to tell his friends that he was becoming a multimillionaire. Niche number 5 is printer ink and toner. And this is legit one of the most unglamorous products on planet Earth. There's nothing exciting about printer ink. Nothing. It's not going to get featured on Instagram, it's not going to trend on TikTok, and nobody's going to make an unboxing video about it. And that is precisely why it works. LD products hit $119 million during their peak years. And remember that college student from the beginning? This is him. He was in his dorm room when he noticed something obvious. Ink cartridges were stupidly overpriced. You'd pay $60 for a cartridge that maybe cost $3 to produce, and it was highway robbery. So he sourced compatible versions from manufacturers who made the same ink for a fraction of the price. He listed them online with clear compatibility information. Works with HP OfficeJet 5255. Compatible with Brother MFC J995DW. And early customers found him through basic search. Now they were skeptical at first, but the reviews started rolling in. Works just as well as the original. Save me 40 bucks, we'll buy again. And here's the key. He reinvested every single sale into more inventory and more SKUs. And one printer model turned into 10, 10 turned into 50, and 50 turned into hundreds. And the business scaled because once someone bought from him and the ink worked, they became a repeat customer for life. Because they weren't going back to paying 60 bucks for OEM cartridges. This 9-figure business started in a student dorm room with maybe 10 or 15 cartridges and a laptop. All right, we're down to the last two, and niche 6 follows a similar playbook. Niche number 6 is selling HVAC parts and filters. The company is Think Crucial, which was founded by my buddy Chad Rubin. Now, before he exited, he was doing tens of millions of dollars in annual revenue selling replacement parts, vacuum filters, and HVAC filters. Now, these are boring consumables people forget about until something breaks. Your HVAC filter clogs and your AC shuts down in 90-degree weather, your vacuum loses suction, and suddenly you're panic buying. Now, Chad began at home in his apartment with small orders of vacuum filters for popular brands like Hoover and Bissell. He listed on Amazon and eBay with clear titles that match exactly what people were searching for. Hoover Wind Tunnel Filter 2-pack compatible replacement. And orders came in because people were actively typing those exact model numbers into search. And then he noticed something interesting. Customers who bought vacuum filters were also searching for HVAC filters. So he expanded into that category with the same strategy. He used clear titles, exact model matches, and Amazon for fast shipping. His multi-million-dollar business literally started with a couple of replacement filters sitting in an apartment. And it grew because customers returned again and again for the same boring item. And the key is that people don't switch brands. They just reorder from whoever solved their problem the first time. And finally, we have the last boring niche. And this market is exploding right now, growing 40% year over year, and most people don't even know it exists. Hey, just a quick break, and you need to hear this. Imagine walking into a room with 200 of the best e-commerce sellers in the world, people doing 7 and 8 figures who will actually share their secrets. Well, that's the Seller Summit, my annual e-commerce conference. I handpick every speaker because they're in the trenches right now dealing with the same stuff you are. No theory, no fluff, just proven playbooks you can steal immediately. And if you're doing over 250K, there's a private mastermind where you'll meet the people who will 10x your business. We've sold out 9 straight years because no other event comes close. And if you're serious about winning, you need to be there. Go to sellersummit.com. Niche number 7 is senior aid and mobility products. So think walkers, grab bars, reachers, dressing aids, shower chairs, adaptive utensils. Nothing about these products are glamorous, but they solve daily frustrations for millions of people as the population ages. The right stuff makes millions of dollars per year with no social media and a website that looks like it was designed in the 90s. But how did they get their sales? Well, they built a small catalog of daily living aids, maybe 20 or 30 products to start. Then they focused on the specific items that caregivers were searching for online but could not find in local stores. Things like long-handled shoe horns for people who can't bend down, button hooks for people with arthritis, and reachers for people who can't lift their arms above their shoulders. Early sales came through SEO and word of mouth. Someone would search dressing for elderly mother and find their site, and their product solved the problem. And then they tell other caregivers and orders grew steadily. As the baby boomer generation continues to age, this market is only going to get bigger. Now here's what you probably notice. 7 completely different niches, but every single story followed the exact same playbook. None of these companies started with viral products. None of them started with huge marketing budgets. None of them started with a giant catalog or a warehouse or a team. Every single one began with a simple idea. Find a problem that already exists, offer a solution, and then make your first sales by meeting a need that is clear, steady, and predictable. So while everyone else out there is chasing the hot new product on TikTok, these businesses are quietly making millions, selling things that people actually need. Things that do not trend, things that will never go viral, and things that just work. My cousin didn't get featured in Forbes for his Jeep tweeter business. The printer ink guy didn't become a social media influencer. The safety supply founder isn't doing keynote speeches, but they're all making way more money than most people with millions of followers. If you want to build a real e-commerce business that lasts, stop looking for the next shiny object and start looking for the problems most people overlook. The boring, unsexy ones. The problems that make people pull out their credit card immediately. Because boring doesn't mean bad. It means stability, predictable cash flow, and customers who come back month after month. Now that you know not to chase the hot next product, make sure you watch this video here on exactly what I would do if I were to start an e-commerce business from complete scratch.